Day number 7, past the halfway point now of the 12 days of MLB rankings. Yesterday you got left fielders, today we got center field. Now, you probably already know who number 1 is because, well, he's the best player in baseball and possibly the greatest of all time. But the rest of these rankings, they're still up for grabs. There's a lot of great players in center field, a lot of talent, and a lot of hard players to rank. So, of course, there's gonna be a little bit of opinion in here. You might not like what I have to say. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Remember to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. The 12 days of rankings has been going so well, and I really do appreciate you guys for showing all that support. For those of you who have not yet subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe to the channel, join the team so you don't miss out on any videos. And last but not least, make sure you drop me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Getting us started at the number 30 spot, I got Philadelphia Phillies center fielder Ramone Quinn. Ramone Quinn's got a nice little glove and he is fast, but at the plate he has pretty much no value besides his speed. 2 homers, 3 doubles, a triple, and 7 RBIs in 41 games last year. A 213 average, 261 on base. I mean, the guy doesn't even walk and he's got all that speed. 315 slugging, 576 OPS. It would make sense if he was elite defensively, but he's not. He's fine defensively. His speed kind of makes up for what he lacks in, but at the plate, he's just got nothing. I mean, he's played 150 games in his 4 years in the majors, 8 homers, 16 doubles, 669 OPS. That doesn't cut it. That comes in as the worst center fielder in baseball right now. At number 29, let's go out west to the Arizona Diamondbacks for a bit of a weird player in Dalton Varsho. Varsho is actually more of a catcher, but they've been playing him in center field because he's such a good athlete. That being said, defensively, I mean, for a guy who's a catcher, he does pretty good out there in center, but overall, he's not one of the best defensive center fielders, and even though he's only played in 37 games thus far, he's probably a better player than what we've seen. I have to go off of what we have seen, and it hasn't been much. 3 homers, 5 doubles, 2 triples, 9 RBIs, a 188 average, 287 on base, 366 slugging, and a 653 OPS. Not the greatest showing offensively for Varsho. I think he could be a good player, but we need to see a little bit more out of him before he gets higher on my rankings. Next up, at the number 28 spot, going to the American League Central to talk about Bradley Zimmer of the Cleveland Indians. Zimmer, over the last 3 years, has played a total of about 60 games, and they've been lackluster, going off of 2017, where they weren't that great either. For his entire career, he's played 164 games, 11 homers, 20 doubles, 51 RBIs, and 24 stolen bases, hitting .224 to 300 on base, 349 slugging, and 649 OPS. He also strikes out a crazy amount, 164 strikeouts and 455 at-bats. Really good glove out there in center field, but otherwise, he's a defensive center fielder, more of a 4th guy at this point. Comes in at number 28. At number 27, sticking in the American League Central with the newly acquired Kansas City Royal Michael A. Taylor, who is slotted in to be their starting center fielder right now. I've never been a huge Michael A. Taylor fan, just because he's pretty much only had 1 season of being a good ball player, but outside 2017, he's been severely below average. Defensively, he was better. He's actually getting up there in age now. He's going into his 30-year-old season, which is crazy to think about, but I put him at number 27 ahead of some of the previously mentioned guys because at least at some point he has shown us that he can hit. That's pretty much it. Like, his best year ever was 19 homers and 23 doubles with an 806 OPS. Solid year, but for his overall career, 686 OPS, and the last 3 seasons has been bad at 654. So Michael A. Taylor, number 27. Number 26 on the center field rankings, Cincinnati Reds, Shogo Akiyama. I was pretty disappointed by Shogo, but after watching him in spring training last year, it's fairly evident that he was going to have a bit of a difficult time hitting at the major league level. Just doesn't have much pop in that bat. He's pretty much a singles hitter, but even then, like, kind of weak singles. One thing Shogo did excel at, though, was that he got on base really well. 357 on base last year with a 245 average, 297 slugging, though, is atrocious, 654 OPS. So even then, he's nothing more than really like a 4th outfielder at best. If you got him playing every day there in center field, you better hope the rest of the offense shows up because Shogo's not really bringing much of it for you. Now, for number 25, we go to the Texas Rangers out west, and we've got the youngster Leody Taveras at only 22 years of age. Leody made his debut in 2020 as a 21-year-old and played pretty well for the Rangers. 4 homers, 6 doubles, 6 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases in 33 games. 227 average, though, with a 308 on base, 395 slugging, 703 OPS. Not the greatest sample size, not the greatest showing in those 33 games, but he did finish the season with a 1.3 B WAR, considering how poorly he played offensively. Decent glove out there. I think he's going to be a better player than what we saw in 2020. Good athlete. I got him coming in at number 25. At number 24, I got Baltimore Orioles center fielder Austin Hayes, who seems to be a part of this pack of players at the bottom right now that are like not complete center fielders. In the field, he's okay. He's pretty good. He makes some nice plays. At the plate, 2019, in 21 games, he was good, but then in 2020, he was just like average. 2017, he was bad. Overall, he's probably an average hitter, an average fielder, and unfortunately in center field with how good some of the gloves are out there and how good some of the bats are, that finds him at number 24. Like, he's a perfectly fine player, and on a good team, he probably fits in really well. It's just the Orioles don't really have that kind of team just yet. Austin Hayes isn't one of the best in my eyes. I got him at 24. For the 23rd best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Colorado Rockies, Sam Hilliard. Good enough to bump out David Dahl. He seems like that's the reason why Dahl got non-tendered this year, along with the injuries. But Sam Hilliard's an interesting player. 27 games in 2019, had an OPS above 1,000, was hitting really well. 2020, not so much. A 710 OPS average was way down. down, on base was way down, slugging was way down, just wasn't a good year. You combine the two together though, and you still get a slightly above average hitter in 63 games, 13 homers, 6 doubles, 836 OPS. That's pretty solid, but let's be honest, he's not really the greatest center fielder, and at the plate, I think it's probably more like the 2020 season than we saw in 2019. Maybe I'm being a little harsh on Sam Hilliard, but right now, I gotta put him at the number 23 spot. I just can't put him a lot higher. Surprising me at number 22, Detroit Tigers center fielder Jacoby Jones. Jacoby Jones has always been a defense-first center fielder, great athlete, just always kind of scratching your head as to why he wasn't better. And in the 30 games he played in 2020, you saw a little bit of that potential you were waiting for in Jacoby Jones. 5 homers, 9 doubles, 14 RBIs, and under 100 at-bats, 268 average, 333 on base, 515 slugging, 849 OPS, all career highs. Granted, very small sample size, but for a guy who's a pretty good fielder, if he can hit a little bit more, that's going to get him higher up these rankings, and we saw him do that in the short season last year. I like him here at number 22. At number 21, I had a hard time ranking him, but Mauricio Dubon of the San Francisco Giants. Dubon is a good little player. I don't know if center field is really the spot for him. I mean, he did perfectly fine out there, plays decent defensively, and had a nice little bat, but again, in a deep center field position with a lot of great fielders and great hitters, it's tough to get him inside the top 20 right now when he has an OPS plus under 100 and a 732 OPS for his career in 84 games. Doesn't mean I think he's a bad player. I think he's actually pretty solid. I've got some cards of him. I'm invested. But in the grand scheme of all center fielders, Dubon is just outside top 20 at number 21. Getting our top 20 started, Christian Pache. And you might be saying, how can Christian Pache be inside the top 20 when he only played in 2 regular season games last year? The guy's glove's unbelievable. He is going to be a Gold Glove center fielder probably for his entire career. I mean, he's filthy out in the field, and he's got a pretty decent bat from what we see in the minors. This is one of the few players I will do projecting on, is because we saw him play a lot in the postseason. The offense wasn't fantastic, but his glove is that good. We're starting to get into territory of getting guys with elite gloves, and Pache is one of them. That's why he's inside the top 20. His glove alone gets him there. Just sneaking inside the top 20 at 19, I got Bryan Reynolds of the Pittsburgh Pirates. My biggest drop of the year. I know I shouldn't be going hard based on what he did in 2020 alone, but it seems like the more you dive deep into his numbers, Bryan Reynolds' 2019 is definitely not the kind of player that he is, and I was fooled. I will admit it. In 2019, Reynolds had a great year. 880 OPS, 314 average, 377 on base, 503 slugging, but 2020 wasn't great. He just doesn't really hit the ball hard, and I guess it's a little tough in that Pirates lineup because there's just zero protection anywhere. 7 homers, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 19 RBIs, a 189 average. That's concerning to me for a guy who hits for a high average. 275 on base, 357 slugging, 632 OPS. You combine the 2 years though, he still had an 812 OPS over 189 games. That's pretty good, but as a defensive center fielder, not the greatest. Just about average, so Bryan Reynolds at number 19 feels right. Coming in at the number 18 spot, going north of the border to the Blue Jays center fielder Randall Grichuk. Grichuk is an interesting player to rank. Doesn't hit for average, doesn't get on base, and doesn't particularly play a great center field, but he can hit. 31 homers and 29 doubles in 2019, 25 and 32 in 18. I mean, he's good pretty much for 25 homers, 30 doubles, around 70 RBIs. He hits for some power, and I like that in my center fielder. He's athletic. I mean, a 778 OPS for his career over 7 seasons, OPS plus at 106. He's an above average hitter, and he has shown signs where the glove can be better. I don't know, I like Randall Grichuk a little bit. Maybe this is a little too high, but I feel like this is the right range for him at least. For the 17th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, St. Louis Cardinals center fielder Harrison Bader. Harrison Bader took a big step back in 19, didn't hit at all, got sent down even a little bit, but 2020 it looks like he came back a little bit, back to where we thought he would be. 4 homers, 7 doubles, 2 triples, and 11 RBIs, hitting 226, not great for average, but a 336 on base is not bad. 443 slugging, 779 OPS. He was an above average hitter in 2020. For his career, slightly below average hitter, but again, another one of these guys who's fantastic in the field, flies around the outfield, just laying out, making every catch possible, and he's got a strong arm. So with the plus glove and being able to see flashes of being a decent hitter, I got Harrison Bader at 17. For the number 16 spot, Victor Robles, Washington Nationals. Robles' glove in center field is arguably the best in baseball. He gets to every ball, has a cannon of an arm. While his defensive metrics weren't great in 2020, in 2019, he was the best center fielder in baseball according to outs above average. He was gross, and he hit a little bit in 2019. Like, not great, but he hit a little bit. 17 homers, 33 doubles. He just refuses to walk as well. Stole 28 bases. 2020, bad year, 3 homers, 5 doubles, 15 RBIs, 4 stolen bases, 220 average, 293 on base, 315 slugging, 608 OPS. That's bad. But if he hits like the year before with the defense that he did in 2019, then he's a really good center fielder. So you got to find the in-between, and that's why I like him here at 16, which then leads us to another great defensive center fielder at number 15, Kevin Kiermaier of the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, the reason I put him over Victor Robles is because we know what kind of hitter he is. He's about below average every single year, but his defense is without a doubt disgusting every single season. I mean, this guy is so valuable in center field, he really doesn't even need to hit. You go up there, strike out 3 times if you want, just play center field, rob home runs, do what you do, Kevin Kiermaier, because that is why you were special in baseball. 2020, not a great year. I mean, the last 3 seasons, let's combine them together. His 162 game average for the last 3 seasons is 15 homers, 23 doubles, 12 triples, 23 stolen bases, 222 average, average, 286 on base, 383 slugging, and a 669 OPS. Nice, but not really again because it's just a low OPS, but his glove's so good, so who cares? For the number 14th best center fielder in baseball, I got Luis Robert. Two things I gotta say. One, it's pronounced Robert. There's a video on YouTube where he talks about it, he says, in Cuba, it's Robert. And then he says, in America, it's Robert. So like, I'm gonna call him how he was pronounced in Cuba because that's where he's from. So just be prepared for me to call him Robert the entire video. Luis Robert, or how me and my friends like to call him Louis Bob, is amazing. He's awesome, but we saw him completely fall off the second half of the season. First 30 games elite, last 30 games pretty horrible. One thing that stayed consistent though is that glove, and he is disgusting out in center field. He is arguably one of the best center fielders defensively. If he just swings the bat a little bit more consistently, this guy's easily top 10, probably a top 5. But right now, it was a tale of two seasons. One was great, one was bad. I can't reward him for playing half of a season well and half of a season like crap. Luis Robert, number 14. Next up, the 13th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, going to the north side of Chicago to talk about Ian Happ of the Cubs. Ian Happ has had a really good two-season stretch with the Cubs from 2019-2020. He basically had identical years, played 58 games in 19, 57 in 2020 to give him 115 over his last 2 years, and in those 115, he has 23 homers, 18 doubles, 58 RBIs, a 260 average, 350 on base, 530 slugging, 879 OPS. Those are super plus offensive numbers. I mean, that's 33 homers and 26 doubles over a 162 game stretch. Defensively, he's not much of a center fielder though. That's why he can't really crack the top 10 just yet. The offense is definitely there. He is a plus offensive player, but defensively, he finds himself in that below average to average category, so I got Ian Happ at number 13. Coming in as the 12th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, former Boston Red Sox current free agent Jackie Bradley Jr. JBJ had a really nice year in 2020, and I think I've been a little too hard on him the last couple seasons as well, because overall, this guy is about a league average hitter at the plate, and he plays really good defense, but he's shown that he can be above average at times as well at the plate, which a lot of the guys defensively behind him haven't shown. 2020 had 7 homers, 11 doubles, and 22 RBIs in 55 games, 283 average, 364 on base, 450 slugging, 814 OPS, reminiscent of his 2015-16 years as opposed to his 17 through 19. I think he's probably a top half center fielder in Major League Baseball right now. Is 12 a little high? Maybe off of that 55 game stretch, because you do see the 3 years before he was below average, but that's how good his defense is. He's a beast out there. Got him at 12. Go Gamecocks. And then just missing on the top 10, coming in at number 11, I got Aaron Hicks of the New York Yankees. The reason he's not in the top 10 is because he's ran into the problem that a lot of guys have. The top 10 center fielders are good now. In previous years, he would be inside of it because the center field depth wasn't as great, but we've had a lot of talent come into center field over the last year, and it just bumps him out slightly. 2020, another solid year, 6 homers, 10 doubles, 2 triples, 21 RBIs, walked more than he struck out, 41 walks, 38 strikeouts, a 225 average, 379 on base, 414 slugging, 793 OPS. Really good player, regressed a lot in center field though last year. He was terrible, so that's kind of what keeps him outside the top 10 just a little bit, but he's really close. He's number 11. Getting the top 10 started at the number 10 spot, Miami Marlins center fielder Starling Marte. Marte's so good. He had a little bit of a down year in 2020, but unfortunately his wife did pass away before the season started, and I think that probably had to do something a little bit with it, along with moving teams. Tough year for him. Completely understandable. The years before, he was great at the plate, hitting 20 homers, 30 doubles, stealing 25-30 bases a year, playing good defense. The defense has gotten worse as the years have gone on, more of a corner guy now than truly center field, which is why he finds himself at 10, but with that bat, with that glove still, he's a top 10 center fielder in baseball. At number 9, I have Lorenzo Cain, who's a really hard center fielder for me to rank, because in 2020, he played in 5 games because he decided to opt out. He played great center field in 2019, but didn't hit, and he's now going to be going into his 35-year-old season. Defensively, he's awesome. We know he's a great defensive center fielder. It's probably going to start to fall off a little bit as he's getting a little older, losing a little bit of a step here and there, and the bat as well is not going to be as hot, but still, he does have some value at the plate. That being said, Lorenzo Cain's a really good ball player. It was a good pickup by the Brewers a couple years ago. I have him as the 9th best center fielder in baseball. For the 8th best center fielder in baseball, going to the New York Mets, Brandon Nimmo. Nimmo's such a bizarre player because in center field, he's bad defensively. You put him in the corner, he would be fine, but at the plate, he's elite. Yes, I'm putting him into the elite category. Since 2018, his on-base percentage is almost 400 at 397 in 264 games. The last 2 years combined, he's played 124 games, 16 homers, 19 doubles, 47 RBIs, 249 average, 389 on base, 444 slugging, 833 OPS, and that's when he was battling injuries in 2019. Like, he had a 221 average and a 375 on base. And last year, he improved to hit for even more power. He was walking more, and he cut down the strikeouts. Big improvements from Brandon Nimmo. Truly better in the corners, but even in center field, because of his offense, he gets inside that top 10. At number 7, probably one of the biggest risers of the list, Kyle Lewis of the Seattle Mariners. Lewis is a good ball player. I put him a little bit lower last year because we only saw 18 games out of him, but after these 58 here, you know what kind of player you're getting in Kyle Lewis. The dude hits the ball hard, he's fast, he plays a good center field. Kyle Lewis is fun to watch, and I interviewed him this offseason in spring training. Really nice nice guy. All he does is work hard. I mean, even after he was done with the day, the dude was working out by himself to get better. You gotta love the work ethic. I think this guy's gonna be a good player for a long time. 2020, of course, he won the Rookie of the Year, and in the 76 games he's played this far, 17 homers, 8 doubles, 41 RBIs, a 264 average, 347 on base, 477 slugging, 824 OPS, with good defense in center field. Kyle Lewis is a stud, comes in at number 7. Just missing on the top 5 at number 6, I got Trent Grisham of the San Diego Padres, who I think is definitely the biggest gainer in my rankings over the last year. The 59 games we saw him play in San Diego were pretty dang good. Raised the batting average 20 points, raised the on-base percentage 30 points, slugging went up 40, OPS 808, and he played tremendous defense in center field. He was one of the better center fielders in all of baseball, and I think that's the kind of player he was. He hits the ball hard, he gets on base, he has a good eye, he does everything you want your player to do. It's just he kind of gets overshadowed in San Diego a little bit because you had Machado and Tatis taking up all the spotlight. But Trent Grisham was so good. 10 homers, 8 doubles, 3 triples, 26 RBIs, and 10 stolen bases in 59 games. And like I said, that 808 OPS, a Gold Glover, fantastic defensively. Oh, he's a top 10 center fielder for sure, almost inside the top 5 at number 6. Getting the top 5 started at number 5, I've got Razor Ramone Loriano of the Oakland A's. Ramone Loriano is so good, and I love that he went to fight Alex Cintrone this year after Cintrone made a comment about his mom. Craziness, kind of derailed his season a little bit, but still he salvaged it. Defensively, real good. Got a nice glove, cannon of an arm, lots of range. And at the plate, even though he had a 213 average, still finished with an OPS plus at 100 in what could have been a better year, but we saw him the last 2 years before be an 850 OPS guy in Oakland. That's more of the player he is as opposed to this weird 54 game stretch where he had a 704 OPS. Still walked though. The walks were up. He started to get on base a lot more, which is something you like to see for a guy who didn't really walk in 2019. Loriano's got good pop, starting to get on base a little bit more. Good ball player. Got him at number 5. For the 4th best center fielder in Major League Baseball, Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. I'm kind of obsessed with Byron Buxton. He's really good. We're finally seeing the number 1 overall prospect that was being hyped up forever. This is him, and he is fantastic. In his last 126 over the last 2 years, 23 homers, 33 doubles, 4 triples, and 73 RBIs, with 16 stolen bases. For perspective, over a 162 game season, that's 30 homers, 40 doubles, 6 triples, 21 stolen bases, with an 833 OPS. Oh yeah, and by the way, he plays phenomenal defense in center field. He's such a good athlete, great arm. There is no baseball Byron Buxton doesn't get to. He gets crazy jumps, super fast. He's one of the most exciting players to watch in center field. One thing you'd like to see is that he walks a little more. I mean, only 2 walks in 2020, but I think as he gets more comfortable, as he's shown us, he's been improving as a player every year. I expect the walks to eventually come, and with that defense and that power that he's been showing at the plate, number 4 for sure in my eyes. Bumped down 1 spot to number 3 from last year, I got George Springer of the former Houston Astros, currently a free agent, hopefully signs with the Mets. Springer goes down 1 because of his defense. At the plate, he's gross. He might be the best offensive center fielder in baseball, not named Mike Trout. Like, he's just so good at the plate. Another season of almost 900 OPS, following up 2019, where he was gross with 39 homers in 122 games. 2020, 14 homers, 6 doubles, 2 triples in 51 games, 265 average, 359 on base, 540 slugging, and 899 OPS. Hits, runs, fields, probably one of the best leadoff hitters in baseball. Yes, I know Mookie Betts and Acuna, they still exist. Springer's awesome as well. I think almost sometimes gets a little underrated because, well, 1, the Houston Astros cheating scandal, and 2, you have to live up to Mike Trout and the other guys above him. But George Springer's really good, gonna make an impact for whatever team signs him, and I got him just down at number 3, not because he had a bad season, it's because the guy at number 2 reclassified from right field to center field, which now probably gives away who the player is, because coming in at number 2, it's Cody Bellinger of the Los Angeles Dodgers. Clearly got bumped over to center field because Mookie going to right. Otherwise, this spot is definitely Springer's, but you put Bellinger in center, he's the 2nd best center fielder in baseball. MVP in 2019, where he just went off, 47 homers, 34 doubles, 1035 OPS, disgusting. 17 won the Rookie of the Year, disgusting. 18 had a down year and still had an OPS above 800. And 2020, again, a down year, but had an OPS plus at 113, 789 OPS, hit 12 homers with 10 doubles and 30 RBIs, walks a ton, gets on base, and his defense in center field is phenomenal. It's crazy how good Cody Bellinger is in center field. Robs home runs, jumps into the wall with ease, cannon of an arm. He is really fun to watch in center field. I talked about in the postseason, just a really all-around good player, does it all, and I think you'll see the hitting come back a little more consistency in 2021, but even with the down season in quotation marks, he's still definitely the number 2 center fielder with that offense and defense combined. And then, of course, coming in at number 1, it's Mike Trout. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Mike Trout is the best player in baseball. Mike Trout is the best center fielder in baseball. Mike Trout might be one of the best players of all time. He's won 3 MVP awards, has only ever finished in the top 5 of MVP voting. 2020 had another unreal year, 17 homers, 9 doubles, 2 triples, 46 RBIs, a 281 average, 390 on base, 603 slugging, 993 OPS, which, by the way, is lower than his career average. Yes, he has a career average OPS of 1,000. So technically, a 993 OPS was a down year for Mike Trout. I can't even wrap my head around it. Mike Trout's the GOAT. goat. Mike Trout's so good. He's number one. If you think it's anybody else, please unsubscribe. I don't want you watching my videos. I'm afraid you're going to make everyone else dumber. Mike Trout's the best center fielder in baseball. It's still not even close. So those are my rankings for the best center fielder from every single team in Major League Baseball. I'd love to know what you guys think about him down in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you have a ridiculous take that Mike Trout isn't the best one? I'd love to hear what you have to say, unless it's that Mike Trout's bad. Then keep that out of the comment section. I will find you. Remember to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it and you want to help support the channel, as well as make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of the rankings coming at you. Drop me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc to get more into a conversation with me about baseball. And that's where we'll wrap up today's video. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video. This is my ranking from yesterday, going over the top left fielders. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I do appreciate you, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.